So I want to quickly go over the exponent law basics. There's other videos that go in much more detail showing it. I'm going to quickly run through them just so you can get a reference. So first one is when we're multiplying exponents. This is essentially the same as if we were going to write it this way. So x times x times x times x times x. So this x squared became this part, and this x cubed became this part. If we're multiplying all those x's in a row, basically we're multiplying it 5 times. So that's the same as x to the power of 5. And what you'll notice is if you take the two exponents at the start, if you just add them together, it gives you the answer. So if we have any kind of exponent multiplication in the future, so like x to the power of 5 times x to the power of 10, we can just add those together. It becomes x to the power of 5 plus 10, which is just x to the power of 15. When we're dividing, we're doing the opposite of what we just did. So instead of adding, we're going to subtract. It looks like this. So instead, I'm going to rewrite it again. So this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y is on top. That's the y to the power of 5. And then 2 on the bottom. And what we can do is when we're dividing, we can cancel out. So these cancel out because they're the same. And it just becomes y cubed. And if you think about it, again, it was 5 minus 2 becomes y cubed. So if we had a different question, maybe like y to the 10 divided by y to the 4, okay, you just do 10 minus 4. So this would be y 10 minus 4. You don't have to write that if you don't want to, but you can. Y to the 6. That's the answer. Next one, some adding issues that people have. Be very careful. Even though these both have the same base, so they both have x as their base, you can only add exponents when they're the exact same. So the exponents have to be the same too. So x squared and x cubed don't actually add together. This is the most simplified you can get. There's nothing you can do. Okay. Same thing if it was, let's say like x squared plus y squared. Those two don't go together. They can't be combined. They're not like terms. Whereas if we move to a question like this blue one, y squared plus y squared, the thing you're going to have to think of is when you're dealing with adding, we're trying to deal with the coefficients. So we're saying we have one of these and one of these. So when we add them together, we have 2 y squareds. Notice the y squared, the exponent, the power didn't actually change, just the coefficient, the number that we had. For this exponent law, we're doing a power, okay, x squared, but it's raised to an exponent. So again, just like the rules we were doing before, we don't actually do 2 to the power of 3, we actually multiply these instead. So this is the same way as if I wrote it like this. X squared, x squared, x squared. Okay, so because it was cubed, that means x squared multiplied 3 times. So basically we can use the rule we talked about with multiplying. We have all of these multiplied together. That means we can add these exponents. So it's going to become x to the power of 6. So if we had a different question, so like x to the power of 4 to the power of, I don't know, 5, okay, I'm just going to multiply those two together. It becomes x to the 4 times 5, which is the same as x to the 20. This one's a little tougher. Has a couple things going on. So like we talked about, whenever we have an exponent with a bracket, everything in the bracket is going to basically get distributed, whatever this exponent is. So the way I like to think of it is each exponent is going to change. Be very careful. There's actually an exponent here on this 2, on this coefficient. The exponent is an invisible one. So let's rewrite it. Using the rule, we know that basically we're going to multiply this 3 times whatever the exponents are. So the first one is going to be 2 to the power of 3, x to the power of 6, because it was 2 times 3. The denominator stays the same, so it's going to be y, and again, 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. Now the last thing is, if you have a number to the exponent, you can actually simplify. X to the 6 doesn't change. This is the same as 2 times 2 times 2, so I'm going to rewrite it as just an 8, x6, y 9. Can these two go together? No, they can't. They have different bases, x and y. So that's our simplified final answer. Okay, and that's it. That's a basic overview of the exponent law rules.